Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam Chair, dear members of the committee. We are all here this morning to talk about CBC Radio Canada. I wanted to be clear for everybody in this room and for everybody listening to us. Conservatives are instrumentalizing anything related to CBC Radio Canada to try to undermine the public broadcaster's credibility. In reality, they don't want any good for this institution and are trying their best to do everything they can to destroy it. So these are completely different visions that are being opposed today. First, the Conservatives are saying that they are concerned about people losing their jobs. This is false. The history of the decisions they made as the Harper-Poilievre government show that the picture is completely different. There were tens of thousands of jobs that were cut and that were also lost, indirect jobs also. Let's remember what happened. After 2012, they cut $150 million of funding to CBC Radio Canada each year. Because of all these cuts by the Harper-Poilievre government, over 1,700 Canadians lost their jobs. So I find it very hypocritical and false to hear what they are saying. Now, regarding their sudden interest for what's happening, and rather, in terms of what our government has done, we will make sure that we take a close look at what has happened and what the reports are so that we can explore better ways to do things. But again, what we're hearing from the Conservatives is really just lies. It's under the Conservative government that attacks were included, and also there were many problems reported, and that was also indicated by the chair, by Huberté Lacroix at the time. The reality is that the Conservatives are constantly campaigning to destroy CBC Radio Canada. We cannot let them have their way. The reality is that they no longer want public broadcasters, independent public broadcasters, play a major role to inform our communities throughout the country. They do not want CBC Radio Canada to be a vehicle for cultural and artistic stories. So they are trying to destroy over 100 years of history, a brand that is recognizable throughout the country in both official languages.
They are showing a total disregard for reconciliation and telling us that they no longer want CBC Radio Canada to keep producing content in 8 Indigenous languages. Avec leur slogan définance.
With their slogan, defund CBC Radio Canada, they're telling us that they no longer want a public broadcaster there for Francophone communities throughout the country. Let's be quite clear on this. Whatever their empty slogans say, it's impossible to defund CBC without having a devastating impact on all of Canada. Saying the opposite is showing the complete improvisation and lack of vision of the Conservatives in terms of public broadcasting. In fact, the story they're telling regarding CBC Radio Canada is false and disconnected from reality. Let's continue with the facts. Surveys show that for many years now that despite all the criticisms and wish to do better, most Canadians largely support CBC Radio Canada. Just 3 weeks ago, we had the latest survey, and we saw that 78% of Canadians support CBC Radio Canada. Conservatives need to notice and take notice.
Conservatives. Could it be that they want to undermine the credibility of the CBC Radio Canada because they prefer a digital universe flooded with more or less credible, self-proclaimed influencers, disinformation, and even foreign interference orchestrated by states hostile to Canada? Rappelons qu'en matière de journalisme.
Let's remember that in terms of journalism, Radio-Canada and CBC employ more than one-third of the journalists in the country. By defunding the institution, which is what they're working for, that would mean that Canadians would be deprived of professional journalistic information. For example, shows such as Enquête and The Fifth Estate, which have been around for 50 years, they shed light on the issues that concern us, do they not? Attacking the public broadcaster is above all a way of weakening us collectively. This Conservative relentlessness is dangerous. They claim to be pro-freedom while constantly working to deprive Canadians of their public broadcaster. Is that what they're trying to do? Let foreign platforms come in?
Comme je l'ai dit plus tôt, il y a deux vues opposées. Une vision conservatrice. Il vous reste 30 secondes, Madame la Ministre. Merci. Une vision conservatrice qui remet le Canada en arrière de 100 ans et qui ferait du Canada un pays du G7 sans diffuseur public. Et notre vision, une vision où nous voulons investir dans notre pays et lui donner les outils
and proud of Canada's stories. Aux collègues du NPD et du Bloc, travaillons ensemble pour améliorer.
To my colleagues in the NDP and the Bloc, let's work together to improve the situation without playing the Conservatives' dangerous game. They're not interested in working together. All they want to do is shut down CBC Radio Canada. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Minister. And now